How many times have you sat through a business presentation on Teams even, or on a remote call, and you've been faced or overfaced with slides that are filled with words? I love you, I really do, but your business presentation is boring because of your slides, and you are losing gravitas, authority, and engagement because of them. I want to change the way you think about your slides and how you do them. Because what I think happens is this, what I know happens is this. You know you have a presentation to do and you think, I don't want to do this presentation, but you say, yes, you'll do it anyway. And so you end up in a situation where you think, oh, I've just got to get through this. And then you realize you've got quite a lot to say. And then you think, oh, I won't think about this until the actual day of the presentation. And then you get to the week before the presentation and someone says, have you got the slides? Have you got the slide deck? And then you panic. And so you sit down in front of your slide deck and you start putting your presentation together. And what you make is not a slide deck. What you make is your notes. In the cycle of creating a presentation, the slide deck, I often think, should come right at the end. Although I do understand sometimes it's good for people to storyboard almost their presentation. But the key thing is here, the slides are not for you. They are not your notes where you can write loads of words on. They are not what the piece of or the asset that you have that means that if you don't say it, oh, don't worry, it was on the slides, they'll have read it anyway. They're not reading it. And they are not the thing that you send to the client afterwards. The biggest thing that I hear people say is, well, I need the words on the slide because I'm going to download the PDF and send it on to them afterwards. That is what you call a brochure. And no one wants to see a brochure on a slide deck. The reason you make slides is because you want to make sure that the audience is engaged. You want to make sure that they are understanding what you're saying and that you're demonstrating what you're saying. So let me give you an example of how slides can really work for you. When I worked in radio and I was making jingles every single week, every single day, one of the techniques that we'd use to really engage the listener and make sure that the listener understood what was going on is to use sound effects. So maybe I was making a jingle or an advert, and the advert would be about Bob down on the farm. Bob's down on the farm, you'd say. And in the background, you'd hear, because that was the sound effect. And what that did was it put a sensory enjoyment in for the listener. It really demonstrated what we just defined. We've defined Bob's on the farm. Here's the noise of the sheep to demonstrate that. And that's exactly how you should use your slides. You make your points with your words and with your presentation, and your slides are there to demonstrate what it is that you're trying to say. The biggest common mistake I see, and people say, oh, it's death by PowerPoint, bullet points, bullet points. The point here is if you put too much on your slides, you are giving the audience cognitive overload. And the biggest thing about being in a business and a business presentation is you are unlikely to be the first or only person who is presenting to that group of people today. And so therefore, if you want to stand out with that group of people and you choose to do the same slides that everybody else has done before you, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, information, 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 deliver in a PDF afterwards, you are literally forgettable. So here are the things that I tell my clients to do to create memorable moments with slides. Number one thing at a time on your slide. The temptation is to put one thing and then explain it in great detail underneath. And yes, I see the need to do that. I really do. But trust me, if you put one thing on the slide, maybe a picture, maybe a word, you are actually creating an opportunity for yourself to speak around it. It means you don't have to absolutely remember everything word for word that you were supposed to say. And it means that you can remember your point and be authentic and natural in the way that you're speaking. You can also have fun with it. So what if you're talking about, I put a picture up of sheep. What could I be talking about? If I put a picture up of sheep, I know sheep have featured a number of times here, but if you put a picture up of sheep, you could be talking about following the herd. You could be talking about jumpers. You could be talking about wool production. You could be talking about, sleep, counting sheep. So whatever you put on that slide is for you to decide and for you to bring a bit of personality to it as well. People will remember it, right? Because you've added a little bit of joy in there. I went to TEDx Manchester a couple of weekends ago, and one of the speakers did an amazing thing with his slides, and I'll show you an image of it now. You'll see here that the date is just a date on the screen. But one of the things I did think that was really clever is in the bottom right-hand corner, they put Google, as in like search, and then the words that you needed to search. So Michael Wooldridge is the presenter. He's an academic professor from Oxford. He is an expert in AI, and the TED Talk was 12 minutes or whatever it is on the potted history of AI. So he just put the dates up. It was amazing. I can remember 1975, 2023, whatever it was he put up, he just put the dates up, and that helped the audience follow what he was saying. Remember, that's what we're trying to do, help the audience understand what's going on. But in the bottom right-hand corner, there was Google LLM or large language models, Google robotics, and it was really simple. And I thought that was actually quite a clever way to give me an opportunity to look at things afterwards. And of course, everyone's taking pictures of the slides as they go past. So it proves that one thing per slide helps the story along. The second thing I advise all of my clients to do, and this is the thing I think that really helps people to understand the purpose of slides, be the slide tour guide. Now, I know, especially if you're in finance or tech or anything like that, you're going to have complicated slides. You're going to need to put spreadsheets on or graphs up or things that give data like a picture. And that's fine. The problem is, and trust me, I've been in this presentation where I've been looking at a graph that's going down and I'm being told it's going up. And it's making me do this, and I don't understand. I bet you've been in the presentation where your CFO is talking about the numbers and the percentage ups and downs, and it's just covered in numbers. And you're like, which bit are they talking about? I don't know which bit to look at. And it's deeply confusing. So if you've got a slide that's got loads of information on, either build it bit by bit. This works really well for timelines. 1970 comes up, and then 1975, and then 2010. Or use circles or highlights or pointers to show the bits that you need people to pay attention to. So there are two really great tips there. 1 point per slide. So one picture, one word, one quote. And if you can't do that, be the slide tour guide. The point of all of this is to say that your slides are there to help you to be memorable, not to distract people from you. If there are too many words and too many things on a slide, people are either reading it and not listening to you, or listening to you and not reading it, so it was pointless in the first place. And to anyone at this point who's watching it and going, yeah, but I've got to send a deck to the client afterwards. Don't put a brochure in a presentation. Send the brochure afterwards. And the really easy way to do this is to make the slides with all the words on and then duplicate the slides and delete all the words off and just use the pictures that you have there. And I'm telling you right now, it's so easy for you to have a real impact purely by doing your slides like this, because no one else is going to be doing them like this. If you want more tips like this, make sure that you're signed up to the mailing list at thepresentercoach.co.uk, and you'll be the first to get the tip off, if you like, your speaker workout in your inbox every weekend. Remember, great communication will change your life. So keep on talking, keep on listening, and change the way that you lead.